You cannot do this on your own. The sin you keep going back to, the overwhelming feeling that you keep getting is because you're trying to do it on your own. And when you try to do it on your own, it's gonna leave you overwhelmed. When you try to do it on your own, it's gonna leave you with more anxiety. And most of all, when you try to do it on your own, you're gonna feel more guilty and shameful after you fell back into the sin, because you're not gonna feel worthy enough to have a relationship with God. You're gonna feel like you're too weak to overcome these sins. And truth is, we are. And that's why we need to rely on Christ. We need to rely on Him to get us through the sin. We need to rely on Him to provide for us, to rely on Him to walk us through this life. Because many of the times we try to take the wheel from Jesus. Instead of letting Jesus take the wheel, we try to take it from Him. When we see that there's a storm coming, when we start to see that there's troubles coming, that's when we try to take the wheel from Jesus. Instead of trusting Jesus and letting Him drive through the storm so He can take you to the other side where there's peace. When you let Jesus take the wheel, that's when you'll have peace. That's when you'll have peace in the passenger seat going through that storm, because you know that Jesus knows what's best for your life. You're probably wondering, like, how? How can I let God take the wheel? How can I let God take the wheel without me crashing, without my life going down? What does it actually mean to let God take the wheel? First, you have to realize that you need to be seeking God first, seeking the kingdom first and all its righteousness, and then everything else should be added on to you. That means you should be seeking your word before anything else. Before you go to work, you should be seeking God in the secret place. You should be praying. You should be in your word. Most of all, you should just be getting to know Christ the most during this time. And then once you start to do that, that's when everything else will be added on to you. That's when doors will start to open. Once you do that, you have to trust God, because if you don't trust God, you'll start being impatient. You'll start seeing the storms come and the troubles come, and then you'll start to go back to try to do your own thing again. You'll start to take back the wheel because you don't trust what God is doing. You'll start to look over and try to take the wheel from Christ. You know how they be when you a beginner stage driver. Sometimes you driving with your parents and they try to take the wheel. That's exactly what you'll start doing if you don't trust God. When Jesus is driving, He's gonna make sure you're gonna go through the storm. He's gonna make sure that you're gonna go through troubles just to test your faith, to see where your faith is really at. If you get to the storms and then you try to start doing things on your own, you stop reading your word, and you just start focusing on the things around you and start stressing a lot, that's when the doors can't be open, because you don't have faith in God. And that's why it says in Psalms that let your faith be like a tree. Because when the winds come and the winds blow, the tree's just gonna stand still. It's not gonna move. But if you're not like a tree and you're not standing still in your faith, then when the storms come, you're gonna turn away from God. You're gonna try to start doing your own thing because you think that's gonna fix it. That's why it says in James that when you ask, don't doubt. Because when you doubt, you're like a wave blown and tossed by the wind. Because when you start to doubt and try to do things on your own, then that's when the troubles will start to overtake you. And that can go with anything. That can go with seeking for a relationship. That can go with trying to find your career. Or that could be with lust. Because if you're not spending time with God, then the lust will start to come back. Then the lustful thoughts will start to come back. If you're not seeking God and working towards your purpose, then the lustful temptations will start to come back and overtake you. And instead of running to God, you'll try to fight it. And that's why it's so important that you don't try to do things on your own, because with your own strength, you can fail. With God, you can never fail. So if you've been trying to do things on your own, whether it be lust, finances, finding a relationship, just trust in God. Let Jesus take the wheel, because where He is taking you, the destination He is taking you, is going to be better than what you ever thought it would. All you have to do is let Jesus take the wheel. So y'all stay blessed.